From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Montana Republicans say they're hoping to expand their majority in the state legislature. 6:33, find out what that might mean for the state constitution and everyday Montanans.
I'm Joe St. George in Washington. You already know there are competitive congressional races happening from coast to coast. But what about smaller ballot measures ranging from abortion issues to marijuana? We break down the smaller elections that you probably haven't heard of yet. Next.
Well, happy Thursday, Southwest Montana. 6:30, Chet Lehman, Matt Elbow with you here, looking into Butte this morning. Clouds are a little higher than they are from the MSU campus.
That's
kind of
right.
socked right in over campus.
And there may be some icy spots in Butte, but overall it looks like roads are relatively
Not too
dry.
bad,
A
yeah,
little
moving
glare
along.
on the road, but folks are driving fine. It is cold though. Our temperature in Butte at this point sitting into the teens. It is going to be a chilly one. 27 in Belgrade, 26 in Bozeman. Not much showing up on satellite and radar. There are a few snow showers still out there. They're very light, not that dominant heavy snow for the most part. You go through the day, we're going to see a lot more sunshine. Still seeing those snowflakes fly in Bozeman. There's the low-lying clouds that Chet was talking about. Not going to last long. We should see some sun by the afternoon. Temperatures near the freezing mark, a little above. That means a lot of melting. Round 2 on the way. We'll break it all down for you in just a little bit.
Right, thank you, Matt. 6:32, we start with some Treasure State headlines this half hour. In Billings yesterday, 2 students rushed to the hospital after police say they overdosed on a drug known as DAB. A 3rd student also sent home sick. 10's Haley Monaco has the details on how it all happened.
Early Wednesday morning, Billings West High School went into a soft lockdown after it was reported that 3 students in various grades were involved in a marijuana-related incident.
It didn't take long for a normal day at West High to suddenly turn traumatic. Freshman Chloe Schmidt was in her first period class when a soft lockdown was announced. She later learned why.
Our teacher told us that one of the kids had overdosed in her room.
According to Billings Police, 3 students began overdosing after ingesting DAB, a concentrated form of cannabis with high levels of THC. 2 of the students were taken to hospital by ambulance for medical treatment. Superintendent Greg Upham is concerned and is calling on all parents to talk with their kids.
You need to understand what this level of THC and what the legalization of marijuana is all about for our kids.
Police say there is no indication the dabs were laced with any other type of drug or that the kids ingested any other dangerous substances. While Billings police say 3 kids overdosed, Upham tells MTN 5 students were actually under the influence.
As we peel this back, we'll find out more details, but I don't have much more than that at this time.
Schmidt says it's certainly not surprising to learn students here were using drugs.
At the point where it's like normal to hear about.
But she was surprised to hear what the students overdosed on.
It's odd to hear that someone was overdosing on weed. I'm like, what? Yeah. Doesn't really seem normal.
Police are working with School District 2 to investigate where the kids got the dabs, hoping to prevent what happened today from happening again.
At the end of the day, it's about safety for our kids.
In Billings, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
6:34 in other news this morning. One of the big questions Montana voters will decide this year will be the makeup of the state legislature for the upcoming 2023 session. To consider, senior political reporters Jonathan Anbarian and Ashley Nurbovig spoke to the majority Republican and minority Democrats about what they're watching for as voters cast their ballots.
For the last 12 years, Montana Republicans have had full control of the state legislature, and people we've talked to don't expect the 2022 midterm election results to change that.
What the election will decide is how powerful the GOP caucus will be, whether they secure a 2/3 supermajority, which is made up of 100 total seats across the House and Senate.
The Republican Party needs to win 2 more seats to achieve that milestone. They could then propose amendments to the Montana Constitution on a party line vote.
Senator Greg Hertz, a Republican from Polson, told me his party is optimistic about their chances and focused on continuing where they left off after the last legislative session.
We want to maintain our majorities in the Montana legislature and pick up some more seats to make sure we can continue to push policies forward that the majority of Montanans support.
I spoke to Scott McNeil, director of the Democratic Legislative Campaign Committee. He said how big the Democratic minority is will make a big difference.
The Republicans, are the governing party. And it's our job to make sure that the governing party is held accountable for its actions, for what it does and what it doesn't do.
Here in the Montana House, Republicans already hold a 2/3 majority, their biggest advantage in the chamber since 2011. All 100 House seats are up for election this year. Republicans currently hold 67, after picking up 9 in 2020. The Democrats have 33. Republicans are making plays across the state, including in some of the last remaining Democratic strongholds, around Missoula and in Indian country. Hertz says in these races, the GOP is hearing from voters wanting action on what he called pocketbook issues.
I mean, economics is a big thing to people right now, and candidates are really focusing on economic issues.
McNeil says Democrats are highlighting issues of privacy and personal freedom, but also laying out a plan to address voters' kitchen table concerns.
They want to see investment, they want to see reductions in property taxes, they want to see more affordable housing.
Like in the House, Republicans are the majority in the Montana State Senate, though still short of the 2/3 mark. Ashley Nurbevig has more on the bids for state Senate seats.
This year, Senate Democrats are defending more than half the seats they control, while just under half of the Republican seats are up for grabs. Out of 50 Montana Senate seats, 26 are on the ballot, including one race, which is a special election after the death of Democrat Mark Sweeney. Republicans hold 31 total Senate seats, with 15 on the ballot. Democrats hold 19, with 11 up for election. In Cascade County, where Republicans gained several House seats last election, the Democrats are defending 2 Senate seats. And in a pair of Senate races in Gallatin and Missoula counties, Democratic candidates have outspent their Republican counterparts in the last 2 months. The Gallatin and Missoula races are expected to be close, as voters in those Senate districts are split almost even between the 2 parties. If Republicans pick up 2 more Senate seats this election, that alone could be enough to secure a supermajority. However, Hertz said that isn't at the top of his mind.
I've never been really focused on the supermajority issue. But I think we are looking forward to possibly picking up 2 Senate seats and maybe 3 or 4 House seats this election cycle.
Any constitutional amendments proposed by a legislative supermajority would still have to get approved by voters. But Democrats say simply proposing those changes would be enough to encourage more big money to get involved in those Montana elections.
And turn Montana into an ideological experiment for out-of-state and partisan interest.
Over the last couple of elections, we've seen a number of legislative races decided by just a few dozen votes. Stick with MTN throughout election night and into the days after to get a full picture of what next year's legislature will look like. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian
and Ashley Nurbevig, MTN News.
On the national scene now, Election Day again just 5 days away. While races for governor and senator dominating most headlines nationwide, there are smaller contests happening around the country. From a vote on psychedelic mushrooms in Colorado to abortion access in Michigan. Our Joe St. George with a look at why the outcome of these lesser-known races should be on your radar too, even if the elections are happening outside your state.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that Election Day is in a few days. And you probably also know that the House and the Senate could go from blue, Democratic control, to red, Republican control. And while those races have received plenty of national attention, there are smaller races happening from coast to coast that you should pay attention to as well. Let's start in New Mexico, where the constitutional right to an early education is on the ballot. You might not live there, but if voters approve it as is expected, it would be the first state in the country to enshrine that right into a constitution, forcing lawmakers to fund preschool and childcare more than they already are. If this measure passes in New Mexico, there's a good chance that a similar political debate will happen in your state soon. Next up, the marijuana debate. The odds are Congress will be more gridlocked after this election, which means state laws will matter more on this issue. This year, Maryland, Arkansas, Missouri, North Dakota, and South Dakota will vote on legalizing recreational cannabis. There's a chance after this election, marijuana could be legal in 24 states, almost a majority. Colorado, which legalized cannabis 10 years ago this month, could go one step further and legalize forms of mushrooms, which supporters say help some cope with health issues like anxiety. The outcome could impact what states vote on the controversial measure next. And then there is the debate over voting laws happening in many states around the country, which will have a big impact on future elections, including the 2024 presidential race. Arizona and Nebraska will vote on whether to change voter ID requirements. Ohio is voting on banning non-citizens from participating in local elections. In Michigan, voters will decide if there should be guaranteed days to early vote. And you can't forget about abortion. 5 states will vote on the controversial topic in the coming days, including Kentucky, Michigan, Montana, and California. What voters decide will tell the White House what policies America wants going forward. In Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Now, recreational marijuana sales began in Montana nearly a year ago. Only in some counties, however. You can see the counties in green which allow recreational marijuana and those in red that do not. Gallatin County, of course, among those in green where recreational marijuana is allowed. Next Tuesday, voters will decide whether to tax pot in Gallatin County. MTN's Edgar Cedillo has that story.
It's round 2 for voters to decide whether they want to tax medical and recreational marijuana products in Gallatin County. This comes after a certification issue caused the results of the June election to be nullified.
It's frankly just illogical.
Owner of Grizzly Pine, Elliot Lindsay, says he's not in favor of more taxes on marijuana products, saying that money could be used some other way.
Every dollar that we pay in tax is a dollar that we can't pay our employees, which is a dollar that they can't use to pay rent.
The county sees the 3% marijuana sales tax as a good source of revenue.
We have a lot of sales in this county. We're going to be the highest sale county in the state, so we thought it was probably a good question to ask people if they'd like us to capture some of that tax.
Gallatin County estimates that they would generate $1.3 million a year in tax revenue from the pot tax. The county would be able to keep 50% of that, around $688,000. Each city and town in the county would split 45% of that $1.3 million, or $619,000, based on population, and 5% of that, or roughly $68,000, would go to the Montana Department of Revenue.
It would be a tax that we'd be able to use locally. It's one of the very few taxes that we have any access to that is not property tax.
Right now, about half of Montana counties allow recreational marijuana sales. 16 of those counties have a local option sales tax. Madison, Beaverhead, and Gallatin County have marijuana tax on the ballot. Gallatin County commissioners say if the tax passes, they plan to use that revenue to invest in mental health.
The intention of the 3 commissioners currently that we would use all this money in our mental health programming.
Lindsay says he'll wait to see what happens.
If the people want it and vote it in, then it's in.
If Gallatin County voters do approve these tax measures, tax collection won't begin until 2023. In Bozeman, Edgar Cedillo, MTN News.